speaking of that last episode, Piper, there was a scene, a final scene for Catherine that didn't wind up in the aired finale. Is that right?
There was a final scene.
What was there a final scene for Catherine?
I felt the whole reveal of Yamaguchi was sort of rushed in when we knew we were not going on, and I was sad that it wasn't orchestrated a little bit better. It just sort of happened very quickly. I don't really know, but I do know when you're talking about David, I found him, a lot of people want to know what he was like. And he wasn't the least bit weird. He was, when I was around, soft-spoken and so quick. His wit was so quick, you had to listen because these fabulous, wonderfully funny things would just fly through the air very softly, and you had to listen. And I also felt he gave me one of the biggest gifts, and perhaps I'll never have one like that again, for an actor, to allow me to invent my own character, and the elaborate preparation of having to be ready somewhere else. They sent me to a makeup laboratory about 20 minutes from the studio, and my assistant, Paula Shimatsu's brother, who later became my assistant on screen, because they just thought it would be nice. He would pick me up at 4 in the morning. We'd go to this makeup lab, and about 4 hours of fixing me up, I get into a van driven by a driver that I knew personally, but he didn't know it was me. And we have these long, long days where I couldn't reveal myself. I couldn't laugh. I had to go to a special bathroom, but it was worth it. It was. I will probably never have such an experience.
So I need one microphone. Are there two that are sort of close together? Oh.
Question for Mary. We've heard that The Fire Walk With Me movie was 5 hours, give or take, in its original form. Could you talk a little bit about the process of whittling it down and just how you and David worked in regards to figuring out what to keep and what to let go? Because there's some scripts that are floating around online that have been reported, still shots and things like that, that just how hard it must have been to cut some of these iconic characters from the series out of the feature.
Right. It was, the first cut was 5.5 hours. And in a certain way, as painful as it was to cut out characters that were so beloved from the series, it was fairly obvious which scenes were going to have to go because they didn't really have to do with the dramatic arc of Laura Palmer's demise and death. And so there was an unbelievably beautiful little scene in the cab of a pickup truck with Big Ed and Peggy Lipton. Norma, right. And, just like this dreamy, like a couple of teenagers sitting in there watching the moon or something and talking and laughing, and it's like not a prayer of staying in the movie because, it just, there was a great scene in the lumberyard with Jack Nance. There was just a lot of fantastic scenes that, again, in the first pass going through and seeing the length of it, there were a couple we'd hang on to for a long time just because, especially with Jack Nance, who was so dear to David. But at the end of the day, they really sort of revealed themselves, which things, we're just going to have to shed to sort of stick with Laura. And it was still hard. It was still hard to get, very hard cutting David's particularly to get from 2.5 hours down to closer to 2. to send. It's like he's asking me to go and cut the first and the last frame off of every shot, and then tell me what the running time is. It's just really hard.
Has he got the scenes?
The scenes, yeah, there's been a lot of discussion about, re-releasing some kind of special presentation with all of the excise scenes. The problem is that we lifted so many things in a rough cut state, so they would all need to be fine cut and they would all need to be mixed. And so it's really, and it's like 3.5 hours worth of stuff. So it's a very expensive proposition because it's all in film. It exists only in film, negative. So we did actually price it out at one point about maybe 8 years ago with the French company that now controls it, and it just was, they didn't want to come up with the money, basically.
Hi, I was wondering, maybe the editors could tell me this. Is it my imagination, when the ring drops in the Roadhouse, does it play the Laura Palmer theme when it bounces? Or I've thought that since I was a kid.
Just 3 notes.
I thought it, because it seemed fast this time. Years ago I thought for sure, but it's probably just me. Oh, it's time constraints. All right, thanks.
Happy answer. Hi, this question is for Tim. I just wanted to ask what it felt like and what the directorial choices you made were in regards to the revelation of when Cooper finds out who killed Laura Palmer, because I think in the hands of someone else, it would, considering the script, it could seem forced or abrupt, but the way you handled it, it felt so organic and just genuine and, magical, I think. And, I still kind of tear up when he goes like this in the end, and I just wanted to see how you really decided to shoot it and put it together and direct the actors for that specific moment.
Me?
Yes.
Which moment?
The revelation. When Cooper finds out who killed Laura Palmer.
In the Roadhouse?
In the Roadhouse, yeah.
It was a big scene. Thinking back, I just remember that, that looking at it in the script, it was taken as a big set piece. So I think we got a stage crane, right? So we started out high, and we could do that to move in, and and I did a lot of shots in this episode, which sort of started on somebody and then moved back to reveal the larger group in a kind of a John Ford chorus line, and it was very studied. I don't really remember what I do remember about it is that we had this gag with the ring and the appearing in the hand and then the hand disappearing and the ring falling, and nobody knew how to do it. And I came up with something, I designed it, and looking at it tonight, I can't figure out how the hell
Like a freeze frame.
how the hell I did it. Huh?
There was no dissolve or anything. It was just.
It was a lock off,
It was a lock-off.
and but I can't remember what the elements were. I came up with it. And
You sure a prop guy didn't just step in and take it out? Usually that's how it's done. Okay, go in there and grab it, and we're the ones that always have to go. Was it more complicated than that, you think? I can't remember, because we were trying to remember how the ring gag was.
Well, did we have it on a monofilament? I can't remember what held it in place and then dropped
Yeah,
it.
neither do I, and it's like, it's a very good point. I don't
Oh,
know
well.
either.
We figured it out at the time.
Yeah,
But, what was I going to say?
Alternate universe.
No, it was just a very studied, and and you have to play this stuff. It had such an edge of humor to it, but you had to play it straight, and to put it over. And I think that everybody who did Twin Peaks, knew that. You just adored the nuances of it, and I don't know. I'm not giving you much of an answer. I I just remember it was a big scene that took all day to shoot.
That was a great set.
Hello. First, I just want to say, Mr. Hunter, River's Edge, great movie. Love that movie. And my question is for Al, and it's crazy because I had this friend that got me really into Twin Peaks, and he was kind of an odd guy, and he told me something that I've never forgot, but I don't know like where he got it or if it's true or not. He says that when your arm was removed, it became Michael Anderson. And that was what he told me, and I've never forgotten it, and I've just wondered if that's true, or if you've even heard of that.
That's what David told me.
Oh, really? That's great. I'm glad to know the truth.
Do you know that also has to do with the alternate universe concept. You know, it was scripted that the arm, back in that motel scene actually, that I told the cops that I had a tattoo on my arm, and I didn't like the tattoo, so I chopped the arm off. The tattoo said "Mom." So there's another version, and you know that comes from the script. So what David told me personally and what was written in the script are alternate universes.
Thank you.
Can I jump on that to expand that question? Because the link between Mike Anderson as the arm is also made explicit in the movie. What about the rest of you? Because you know you appear in the lodge. You physically, was there ever a sense that there was an alternate Mike?
Absolutely. That's the way I always approached it. Is that, and actually, I think in one of the episodes you saw tonight, I was blessedly allowed an actor's dream to do an on-camera transition between the one mic and the other mic, and that's kind of the way I have always approached it. Is that my character is caught up completely in this shifting alternate universe kind of thing.
But also though that you would actually play both versions of that.
Well, yeah.
Both in and outside of the lodge. Well, the difference being that, say, Frank Silva and Ray Wise are two different actors that have to perform the same character.
Yeah. And you know, this is an artistic choice. As you guys all know, Frank was never written originally as part of the thing. And it's just that when he showed up, it was obvious that he had to be part of it. And so they gave Ray his alternate universe in Frank Silva. And in a way, Mike Anderson is kind of my alternate universe too, although it's just a piece of me that I chopped off and is running around now on its own.